Hello girls and welcome back, and today we're going to be sharing 7 of our top pieces of marriage advice that have been really helpful for us so far. Now, we've only been married 3 years, but we do like to pick a lot of other people's brains who are older and wiser than us, so a lot of these come from them, and we just hope that maybe they can be helpful for you too. And if you're married, comment below what's your top piece of marriage advice. Tip number 1, lean towards each other instead of away. I think it can be really easy when marriage gets tough to kind of like pull away from the other person. You almost like want to shut them out, to like hurt them for the way they've hurt you or whatever. And marriage is...
Or you feel like they're being negative and you want to like insulate yourself from that.
Yeah.
Or you're just like, I need some space from this person or thing or idea.
Right. And like having some personal space and like having time to yourself is great and is important in a marriage. But make sure that like your frame of mind and the way that you are like in your relationship mentally and emotionally is always this posture of leaning in towards your spouse instead of away from them in each situation.
Yeah, so being the one to, hey, even if you think that they should be apologizing to you, initiate that. Initiate physical touch. Initiate conversation. Initiate contact. If you feel like something's wrong, you know, say something. That's kind of what I think leaning towards the person looks like.
And does this all the time. Always.
Tiffany loves doing that.
Snuggle.
That does bring us to tip number 2, which is that your tone of voice really, 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 really matters.
So much more than I realized.
If you're if you can just tell if there's an edge to someone's voice. You know, we say, I work in a position in sales, and we say, you know, that the words that you use are only 30% of the message. A significant portion of the message is your tone of voice and your body language. So watch that tone of voice and body language.
And I would actually encourage you to ask for feedback from your spouse. Like, how does my tone of voice come across in conversation? And when I'm like, you know, I don't know, giving feedback or whatever, is it edgy? Does it turn you off? Does it hurt you? Or is it coming through in a good way? And really listen to what they say.
So I think that brings us to tip number 3, which is that when you have something that you are disagreeing with or you don't like that your partner has done, be very wise in the way that you confront them about that. And what I mean by that is not in front of other people. If I had a dollar
at the
for
dinner table with your in-laws.
If I had a dollar for every time I've seen a newly married couple
or an oldly married couple
air their dirty laundry in front of people, it's like weird.
It's so awkward for everyone else in the room too.
And what that does is if your spouse is doing that in front of other people, your instinctive reaction is, how do I protect my brand and reputation? It's not about, ooh, how do I deal with this issue where I might be at fault and she might be at fault? It's no, this is about protecting my brand and reputation. And so you really, it never, if something is wrong, you know, you don't need to like lie to your friends and that everything is all right, but you know, don't confront your spouse or air for the first time your dirty laundry in front of other people. And
if you do want to talk about an issue with other people, which can be helpful in certain situations, make sure both of you have agreed ahead of time that you're going to talk about it that night and to those particular people. Tip number 4 is my favorite. Do lots of things together. Well, it doesn't have to be like everything together. Nothing, like, no. But have regular quality time doing things that you both enjoy and doing them together. And doing just like regular things too, like household chores, doing those together when you can. And
going food shopping can occasionally be fun together. You know, it depends on your relational dynamic.
Just finding things that you both like can do together and that you enjoy doing together.
Are we up now to tip number 5?
Yes.
Okay. Tip number 5, lots of positive affirmation. Something that I have learned is that when you're married to someone, you do not exist to correct them. And in
to
fact,
make them a better person or what you think is a better person.
It just doesn't work. It's much better if you are sort of a cheerleader for your spouse. You know, you will recognize, believe me, that there are inadequate things about your spouse, things that your spouse does wrong. Sometimes it's helpful to confront them, and sometimes it's more helpful to pray about them and just encourage them in the things that they're doing. Because a lot of times I find like when I encourage Tiffany, that's really helpful for her. And when I criticize her, she then starts criticizing herself and she sort of gets down on herself. And, you know, my criticism just isn't always helpful. And a lot of times it's more for me so that I can say, hey, I've noticed that you're not doing this.
And I think a lot of it depends on if it's something that affects your relationship. So I think if there's like a bad habit that's like hurting your relationship, then it's important to bring up in a good tone of voice, in a good way. But if it's something that more you see in their life, like, oh, they shouldn't be eating that much food, or oh, they should be working out more, or whatever,
or she shouldn't be leaving food in the dish drain.
That doesn't always happen.
But it happens sometimes.
But like stuff like that, like you got to be wise about like which things you share and which you don't. Tip number 6 is pursue your spouse. Now this is a very like stereotypical thing right here, but men pursue your wife romantically and women pursue your husband sexually. And that's sometimes that roles will be reversed. There are couples where the guy is the one who's more of the romantic naturally and the woman's more of the sexual pursuer naturally. So it depends on your relationship. But overall, statistically speaking, I think it's so important for guys to pursue their wife romantically and girls to pursue their husband sexually. And to, by pursuing, I mean initiate opportunities for those things. And you might need to give your spouse a little bit of space in order for them to pursue you. So like if James asked me to have sex every single night, when would I ever ask him? You know what I mean? Like I would have no chance to initiate. There'd be no time. So him giving me some space actually gives me the chance to pursue him. And likewise, if I'm always like, I want you to pursue me romantically, take me on a date, take me out, get me flowers, all this, if I'm saying that every day, then when is he gonna have a chance to do it without it sounding like he's just doing it because I asked him to? So I think you need to like give each other some space, share what you would like in that pursuit, but also give each other some space to do it.
Yeah, because pursuit, I think romantically means different things for different people. Like for Tiffany, for example, Tiffany loves notes and flowers occasionally.
Love notes.
But she loves notes. I could write her a note every day.
I just cry and cry over them. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, but see, there you go. You know, it doesn't take much to figure out, hey, what does my wife really like that just makes her feel
so loved. Yeah.
And point number 7, which is important, is use your words.
Oh my goodness, yes.
If you need something, if you want something, don't hint. Don't like wish. Don't get mad that they haven't figured it out.
Because they won't.
Use your words.
Yeah.
Say, I would really like it if you cooked dinner.
And be specific.
I would really like it if you helped me with the dishes. See, it wasn't that difficult.
And I think a lot of times, like, girls can feel bad for asking what they want because it's almost like, I don't know, it just like it feels weird. But that's, I think, a very cultural thing. Like, girls are told we're not supposed to ask for what we want. And you know, if you do, you're told that you're like too aggressive and all this. There's nothing wrong with asking for what you want. It's all in your tone of voice, you know? And just kindly saying, I would really love this. I feel like I need this. There's this need inside me that I feel like isn't being met. Can we work on this together? So important.
Yeah.
Just having that constant communication. I feel like really one of the big keys to marriage is being in communication, really talking about things, not just talking around things and hoping they'll get the picture, but talking about things.
Yeah, and this can be a tough place to get to, especially if the relationship sort of status quo that you've developed is that one person is calling all the shots and the other person just kind of goes along with them and on some level suffers in silence. You know, in that case, you know, it does take a little bit more of a jolt to start expressing your wants and needs. And so then you have to probably talk with mentors and think about, hey, what's the best way to start doing this so my spouse doesn't freak out?
So I hope that can encourage you. And like we said, comment your top marriage tip down below as well. We can't wait to hear it. And we'll see you again soon for more Girl Talk. Bye, ladies.